Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Arsalan Farrukh and I teach math and physics. In this video, I will discuss very basic concepts of probability and the formula of probability. You calculate the probability of a particular event as the total number of outcomes that favor that particular event divided by the total number of possible outcomes. So if you consider a six-sided dice, and there will be only one face that has 6 on it. So the probability of scoring a 6 would be 1 upon 6. But you know that there are numbers which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And if you want to calculate the probability of getting an even number, you know that there are 3 faces which have even numbers on them. So the probability of scoring an even number is going to be 3 upon 6, which could be simplified as 1 upon 2. You put in numerator the number of events which will favor a particular output divided by the total number of possible outcomes. Now, the value or the number that you get, it tells you how probable or how likely it is for that particular event to occur on a scale from 0 to 1, where 0 is indicating that it is not at all possible for that event to occur, and 1 is when it is most likely and it is confirmed for that event to occur. So if you consider a box that has 10 black balls and you pick one ball at random, what is the probability that the ball that you choose is black? So obviously any ball that you pick is going to be black, and hence it is definitely going to be a black ball, and hence its probability is going to be 1. But if you have another box that has 5 black balls and that has 5 red balls, and if you pick one ball at random, what is the probability that the ball that you pick is blue? But there are no blue balls over here, so its probability is going to be 0. 0 indicates that the event is not at all gonna happen, and 1 indicates the probability that it is most definitely going to happen. Now, if you will take some other examples, there is a box has 5 red, 3 green and 2 yellow balls. A ball is picked at random, find the probability that the red ball is picked. So you will see that there are 5 red balls. So number of outcomes favoring choosing a red ball are 5. And there are total 10 balls here. So 5 upon 10 will be the probability that red ball is picked. There are red balls, there are green balls, and there are yellow balls. There is no blue ball. So the probability of picking a blue ball is going to be 0. That means it is not at all possible that the ball that is going to be picked is going to be blue. The other simple formula that you need to identify is that if you want to calculate the probability of an event not occurring, then you can just simply subtract the probability of occurring from 1. So if you want the probability of something not happening, you subtract the probability of something happening from 1 and you will get the probability of it not happening. So if you know that the probability it's gonna rain on a particular day is 0.3 and you have to find that the probability that it is not going to rain, then it will be 1 minus 0.3. The other 2 terms that you must also understand are the probability of A or B, which is also written down as probability of A union B, which will indicate that you're looking to find out the probability of either A can happen or B can happen or both can happen. Whereas probability of A intersection B, which is also read as probability of A and B, which will mean that the probability of A and B happening together. Now, how do we calculate these probabilities? Like let's say you have these cards and they have some numbers and they have their colors associated with them. So first 5 numbered cards are red color and the next 3 cards are blue color. If I have to calculate a probability that the card chosen is red, so that's pretty simple, that I can see that there are only 5 red cards out of 8 cards, so the probability is going to be 5 upon 8. But if I want to find the probability that it bears an odd number, then I'll see that 1 is an odd number, 3 is an odd number, 5 is an odd number, and 7 is also an odd number. So there are 4 odd numbers out of total 8 numbers. So the probability of an odd number is going to be 4 upon 8, which can be simplified as 1 upon 2. Now it comes a concept of N and R. So it is red and bears an odd number. So that means you're looking for those cards which are simultaneously together red as well as they bear an odd number. So 1 is red and it bears an odd number. 3 is red, it bears an odd number. 5 is red and it bears an odd number. Although 2 and 4 are red, but they will not be included because they are red, but they do not bear odd numbers. It has to be both occurring together. Similarly, if you will look at number 7, then you will also not pick that card because it is odd, but it is not red colored. So there are only 3 cards which are red as well as they bear an odd number. So that means that the probability is going to be 3 upon 8. Likewise, if you're looking to calculate the probability of red or bears an odd number, so it can be only red, it can only be bearing an odd number, or it could be red as well as bearing an odd number. So I will include those cards which are odd numbered. I will include those cards which are red. And if there is a card which is red and odd numbered, obviously that would be included as well. So it's going to be either one event or the other event or both. So if I will try and find out that particular probability, I'll see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 outcomes favoring that. So the probability is going to be 6 upon 8. Let's have a look at another example. So you have numbers from 1 till 200 and you have to find out the probability that it is divisible by 7. So you're just going to count how many numbers are divisible by 7. So you're just going to start making a list. It's going to be a little tiring thing to find that out. So what you can do is that you can divide 200 by 7. You get 28.6. So 7 times 28 would be the largest number which is divisible by 7 within 200. So if I can see that it counts up to total 28 numbers, so the probability of it being divisible by 7 is going to be 28 by 200. And then I have to find the probability of not divisible by 5. I can still do the same thing. I can see which numbers are divisible by 5. I can do one more thing. I can find those numbers which are not divisible by 5, but that's a very long list. So it will be easier to see which numbers are divisible by 5, count how many numbers are divisible by 5, that's 200 divided by 5, that counts up to 40. So 40 numbers are divisible by 5 and probability of it being divisible by 5 is 40 divided by 200. But that is not the probability I'm looking for. I'm looking for a probability for it not to be divisible by 5. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to subtract this probability from 1. So 1 minus probability of it being divisible by 5 is going to be probability of it not being divisible by 5. Then I have to find the probability of it being a perfect square. So I'll see that if I start making a list, 1 is a perfect square, 4 is a perfect square, 9 is a perfect square, but then again it's a very long list of perfect squares. I'm gonna just do a little bit of trial and see that what is the largest perfect square that I can get within 200. And that is 14 square, which is 196. So 14 square from 1 square means that the largest perfect square is going to be the 14th number. So there are 14 perfect squares divided by 200 and that gets me the probability of it being a perfect square. Moving on, if I have to find divisible by 5 and 2. So you see here you're looking for intersection. So it has to be divisible by 5 and 2 both. If it is divisible by 5 and it's divisible by 2 as well, it should be divisible by both. That is, it should be divisible by 10. So I can just make a list of those numbers which are divisible by 10 and I'm getting 20 such numbers. So 20 by 200 will give me that probability. Next up, I need the probability of it being divisible by 3 or 7. So since I need it to be divisible by 3 or 7, I can make a list of those numbers which are divisible by 3. I have to include that. I'll make a list of those numbers which are divisible by 7. I have 28 such numbers. And then I'm going to make a list of those numbers which are divisible by 21, that is divisible by both 3 and 7, and that's adding up to 9 numbers. Now, what you need to understand is that you need these numbers, as well as these numbers. But do not forget that this number 21, 42 is included in this list as well as this list as well. So you had to count it once, but it gets counted twice. So what you're going to do is that you're going to add 66 and 28, but since those numbers which are divisible by both are being counted twice, so that is why once you're going to subtract it. So it will include all the numbers which are divisible by 3 or 7 or both, and then divided by the total number of possibilities. Even if I need to find out neither divisible by 2 nor 7, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to find out the numbers which are divisible by 2 and 7 both. When I need to calculate the probability of divisible by neither 2 nor 7, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out the probability of divisible by 2 or 7, and then I'm going to subtract it from 1. So I'll see that what are the numbers which are divisible by 2, I'll see what are the numbers which are divisible by 7, and then I'll also see the numbers that are divisible by both, that is 14. And then I will obviously identify that those numbers which are divisible by both are actually included in both the lists already. So that means they are included twice. So I have to subtract this number once. So the numbers which are divisible by 2 or 7 or both are going to be 100 plus 28 minus 14. So I'll get myself the probability of being divisible by 2 or 7. Do not forget, I had to find the probability of neither divisible by 2 nor by 7. So if I have this probability and I subtract it from 1, I'll get the probability of neither divisible by 2 nor divisible by 7. So guys, I hope this helped in identifying the very basic simple formulas of probability. I will make more videos to make you understand more concepts related to probability. To receive notifications about those videos, please do subscribe to my channel and also give a thumbs up. Thank you.